It's Tuesday night after I don't know how many we've missed, and we figured we've been away for long enough. We might as well pop by for an hour, a couple news things, but another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs as we're getting closer to the season.
Yeah, we're gonna call
Or,
this the official and unofficial season premiere of what is it? Season 4 now? Season 5? Season 4?
the announcement of the announcement.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I think it's season 4. I think this is
I
season 4.
probably
Um,
something like that.
but
Yeah.
less than 2 months away, a little over a month away from the start of the hockey season. Western Michigan
That's crazy. The off season is
looking to
almost done.
defend all of its trophies this year. There's actual rosters out. If people want to look and see who's on the team next year, you can do that. Miami, they're hoping to be better than they've been in the years past, and their coach looks to be trying to bring in some guys he's known from his USHL days. I think he brought in 3 or 4 players that he coached at Tri-City.
Sounds about right.
So looking to get the band back together and have some success. Hopefully that works out for him. As long as they're not playing Western, because we'll keep that streak going for as long as humanly possible. And
I just got completely thrown off. I went to go to Clean Sheet in Sydney's just to refresh my memory on the transfer portal, and where's his transferred? It's now Apex or APX Hockey.
Oh.
So interesting there. But yeah, there's not been a whole lot to talk about in the last few months since at least Wes and I convened, and then Brent, I think you hopped on with Wes, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. But as we get closer, we're finally getting a few different things to talk about, especially like Wes said with the rosters and taking a look at those for how the team might shape up, even though Wes, you've always said it doesn't really mean anything until you see the team on the ice playing together.
Yeah, I mean that was the big thing last year. We knew that Western Michigan was going to have a lot of new guys, but that was a lot of the talk was just how quickly that team came together and the success they had. Another team that had a lot of moving parts last year was Brent's team, partly due to injuries, and so that kind of limited their ability to really get rolling in the early half of the season. And Western and Omaha kind of went in 2 different directions, but they got it going at the end of last year, and put up a fight trying to steal a top spot in at least the NCAA or NCHC playoffs. But yeah, I mean it was an interesting year last year. Arizona State comes in hot and plays extremely well. They're the only team that handed Western Michigan a regular season or a regular time
regulation.
Yeah, regulation loss last year. There's cat hairs right here. They keep catching my eyes and they shut my brain off.
Not helping your look either when you're looking at them.
No. I mean, there's not much that's going to help my looks. All right, let's just get that out of the way. The face paint might that might boost me a little bit. But no, I mean they came in, played really well. Everyone was sick that weekend for Western, so take that as you will. But Arizona State said, "Hey, we don't care if you're sick or not. You're the team in first place. You're where we want to be, and we're going to try and take it from you." And we're ultimately unsuccessful, but they did hand Western their only in-conference regulation loss last year. So it would be interesting to see how they do. They once again changed over their entire goalie room. Western is actually returning the most that they've returned under Coach Ferschweiler. A big part of that is getting Owen Michaels back. Grant Slukinski staying for a second year here. Those were 2 important players down the stretch there at the end of the season. Bump leaves early to play with the Flyers. He did well with Lehigh on their playoff run last year. There's potential he's going to get some looks at being in the men's league, the big league, here this fall. But definitely going to be missed at Western. Guys like Washi who graduated out, stayed 5 years, left their mark on the program, and he's the first captain to get Western where they ultimately wanted to be and have wanted to be for a long, long time. So congrats to him. He actually I think he signed an extension with the Ducks, so he'll be staying with Anaheim and Sam Colangelo for this season. Not a lot of big signings at the end of the year last year. I think we'll still see some more guys get some pro contracts here, whether it's in North America or in the European leagues. But I would expect more guys to end up signing contracts as things get going here and invited to camps and stuff. So keep a lookout for that.
Yeah, and they're already trying. I've seen a couple here and there that have been posted where guys are going overseas, not necessarily playing in what's considered a top tier league, but some in England, which is they're actually really moving fairly quickly as far as becoming or moving up the ranks of the professional hockey league world. Some in Germany. I think somebody just signed in Switzerland. So they're solid hockey leagues, and who's to say if they don't do well over there, they can't come back and get a look over here again.
Yeah, or they do well over there and it gets them a look over here. A lot of guys prefer Europe to the ECHL, so it's definitely something that there's a lot of guys I think that are still in the talent pool that could find a spot in the pro ranks for sure.
Yeah, I know Mason Morelli, former captain, just signed in the KHL. He moved from Vegas. Unfortunately, I think his time was kind of up in Vegas despite having some success. So he just signed. I know Omaha still has quite a few players like Austin Ortega's, I think, in Germany. He just re-signed. And then a bunch of other guys. Kansas City Mavericks are basically coming. The Omaha Mavericks. Nolan Sullivan re-signed. Jimmy Glenn, Jimmy Glenn re-signed. And it's not official yet, but Jack Randall has also will also be announced here soon. And they'll all be joined by Nate Konepke, who's also coming back. So 4 old Bulls on the Kansas City Mavericks so far.
There you go for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. What else can we touch on before we get to the big stuff? And hopefully Paul joins us probably around probably closer to 10, I would think, because they're doing their show now.
One interesting thing that I heard, it wasn't necessarily NCHC related, but I had to go drop a check off for work, and Bob Motzko was on the radio. And
if you're bringing up what I think you are, I did want to talk about this, and we were supposed to talk about it at some point in the summer, and then I lost all will to want to do this for whatever reason.
I don't know. I don't know talking about it or not, but he it was funny because he's doing what he's supposed to do in promoting the Big Ten Conference and saying how, well, people were used to the WCHA where you had your top 4, 5 teams somewhere in there, and then there was a clear cut bottom and top half. Big Ten's so tough. We beat each other up every night. It's the toughest conference. Penn State, they were the 6th seed. They do this. Yet, as I was listening to him, it was, we're playing UMD. We're playing North Dakota. We want to play Denver. We want to play, and it was listing these NCHC teams, and then BC was on the other. I was like, weird. But you're also making a point where we look at last year in the NCHC, you have Miami, and then you have everybody else that they can win. And Miami, they can win on any night. It's just not as likely. But the series are competitive in 1 through 8.
Man, Miami found every way to lose a game last year. They did not find a single way to win one in the conference.
I just found it very interesting. I'm an old WCHA guy. Well, then you should know that the fact that the majority of the WCHA teams are still in the same conference, it's going to be a better conference, and they have just gotten better. It's gotten more competitive.
Yeah, and it's hard to have a clear top and a clear bottom when there's 7 teams in the conference.
Yeah.
If you have
Mhm.
12 teams in a conference, you can start mingling out. There's going to be a bottom third for sure, a top third, and everyone else is going to fall in the middle somewhere. But yeah, it's hard to do that with so few teams and everyone hunting that top tier talent. But no, that wasn't the one that I had heard. The other one was that he was talking about the way that Minnesota had fallen out of the Big Ten tournament so early, and they hadn't played since like the first week of March before the NCAA tournament happened, and thought that had played into part of their early exit from the tournament. But I mean, really, best case scenario, 12 teams are going to be playing on the final weekend of the non-tournament schedule. 6 teams are coming in on a win. No matter what, 6 teams are coming in on a win. Maybe 7 if you get an at-large team that's a independent in there somehow making the tournament and they won their last game of the weekend. But the other thing was, of the final 4 teams, Western and Denver were the only 2 that both made their conference finals and made the final weekend. BC and BU, neither one of them advanced to their conference finals. So yeah, I mean, there was the fact that Minnesota almost had a month off, but you could have made better use of that month, I guess. I don't like it's kind of hard to be like to I think garner a lot of sympathy in that situation. When like I said, the other teams like they were playing, and it was something like I said, 6 teams came in on a win. The 6 conference winners. A few of them had played. Michigan State was a team that won their conference, and they didn't make it out of the first round. They got upset by was it Penn State? No, they played Penn State in the Big Ten final. But they got bumped early. Penn State was kind of the surprise, coming with basically home ice and advancing to the Frozen Four, but they didn't make their conference final. So yeah, it's a crapshoot when you get into that situation and you're trying to find the best 15, 16 teams, and someone's going to lose a spot because someone won a conference, or it's hard for those independent teams to get there. So
I think, as much respect as I have for Motzko and what he did at St. Cloud, and then what he's done to build this program at Minnesota back up from what it was before he got here, he's pandering too much to the masses in a sense, and kind of like, well, I don't want to make them Superman. Like, yeah, we just had too much time off. Well, you look at the NFL, which coaches are good off of a bye week, which ones are bad. They make good use of that time off. You should have made better use of it. You had the talent.
yeah,
You have this star talent. Why are you not using it? And using that time to make them more of a championship caliber team than they were. The other thing, though, he was talking about the transfer portal and how they haven't used it a whole ton, and they have guys that they leave early or they might transfer where they're going to go get some playing time. But they try to not fill it in because they're trying to do it with the quote unquote draft in recruiting. And I think Western has been a good example of that too, where you're not dipping too much in the transfer portal unless you have a bunch of guys leave for the pros or graduate out and they want to stick around for 3, 4, 5 years. So that was another interesting topic that he was talking about.
I mean, the portal for me, like if you look at, it's there I guess like if I were building a team, right, I don't want to be a Deion Sanders. I don't want to be 80% in the portal. Yes, I'm getting experienced players, um, older guys, but I don't want to have to rebuild my culture every single year, right? I want to do more along kind of the Pat Ferschweiler model. Like I want to have an established core of guys who I recruited from a younger age who have wanted to come here, who have similar values to what I'm looking for, and then if need be or there's a spot and there's a talent available that seems like they would fit and we need a little bit of experience here and there, then yeah, go out and pick up a couple spots here and there, but don't rely on it and live on it every single year. I mean, Western's been one of the better teams at it, but we've seen it miss with North Dakota, and they've gone heavy a couple times, but we've seen it hit with them too. And even if you look at the pros, like the teams that go hard in free agency are not always the best teams. The teams that sit there and they add a piece here, they add a piece there. They get a guy like a Pat Maroon who's bounced around a little bit, but they're supplementing him in. But it's the teams that have that established core, like Tampa Bay. Once they built their core and the core became established and they started trickling in some guys here and there, filling in some spots from guys who retired or wanted a better deal somewhere else. That's when they got good, and that's what led to back-to-back Stanley Cups for them. Florida's doing the same thing. Yeah, they have a couple guys who they've traded for, like Bobrovsky and Tkachuk, but they still have a really solid core, and they're only adding bits and pieces here and there, like adding Brad Marchand this year. Like that dude came up big for them in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But you can't lean too heavy in either direction either. I mean, how many times has Edmonton had the first overall pick and it's gotten them not very far? Yeah, they have a couple Stanley Cup Finals appearances, but they have nothing to show for it. You know, Connor McDavid has a Conn Smythe on the losing team that he didn't go and accept. So it's interesting. It's a matter of how you build that team and where you put those foundational blocks.
And the other thing, we've talked about it too with the portal and our kids just doing it, why they're doing it. But he talked about they ended up picking up the backup goalie from Michigan State. And he realized that, yeah, he did well in the 7 games or whatever it was he started at Michigan State, but Augustine was staying another year. And he's like, well, now I'm just going to be playing behind him. And by the time he leaves, I'm going to only have 2 years of eligibility. Where can I go? The Gophers, and I hate to be so Gopher heavy, but this is just what I heard. He said, well, we have an inexperienced goaltender that's kind of our number one. You're going to have a shot to be that number one if you play well enough. The players will decide it. And that's what the transfer portal is for. Knapp, he transferred out this year because I think he realized Guyon was the number one goalie here. It's like, we're the same age. So I'm going to go try and find a place where I can be the number one guy and I have a better shot because I don't think it's going to work out well here. And that was just another interesting point about how they use the transfer portal and teams looking. They didn't necessarily need a goalie, but they thought, hey, maybe he can be that supplemental piece because we don't have a goalie we trust coming in as a freshman.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why we had Kevin leave. It's because Simon announced he was coming back, and Ottawa needed Kevin to play before they were able to, really commit to signing him or whatever. So Kevin left and found his home in Penn State now, where he'll probably compete for the number one spot there. So that's kind of the situation. It was kind of a surprise for me, but then realizing, yeah, Kevin needs to play. He's a great goaltender, and we'd love to have him, but he doesn't quite have a spot. He's going to be a backup. So
yeah, I mean, backups can be important too, though. St. Cloud finds himself in a weird predicament. They were without Posh for a lot of last year, and it struggled to find wins there in the middle of the season. He comes back and is not quite the same player, but he leaves in the offseason, and now they got to reestablish who's going to take over the net there after a couple what seemed like a straight path of who was going to be the goaltenders. You went from Castor and Bassey to Bassey and I think someone else before Posh, but Posh took over the net and had it for most of last year till the injury and left as a sophomore. So interesting to see how they look. Western had really just an interesting offseason the year that Brandon Bussey left because the entire goalie room cleared out. So they bring in two goalies in the transfer portal plus a freshman. Cam wins the ability to be the starting goaltender. Doesn't give up the net until last year and goes 50-50 until the end of the year and gives it up to Hampton before he leaves. So they got another freshman goalie coming in, and Larson has stuck it out and hung around and has been that number 3 guy and that practice goalie for a couple seasons. But, I think Western loves having him here and wouldn't have it really any other way. And he likes being here. He probably had a couple opportunities. He could have hit the portal again, but, stuck it out. So he'll be in his 3rd year here with Western, and is it 3rd? I don't know. Everyone's been here. It seems like forever. So it's his 5th year, but his 4th with Western. He had a redshirt year at Miami, so that's why he's on 5 years. So I mean, there's a lot of different paths that are open to guys, and it's just making the most opportunities when you get them. Yeah, that's another big piece that Western is coming back is Hampton Stukinski. I think that kid's probably going to be, now that he doesn't have to split awards and starts with Cam Rowe, I think he's going to be a contender for goaltender of the year in the NCHC. Really, the only thing that hurt Cam and Hampton was that they had to split the net, and both of them were equally phenomenal when they were in there. Either one was definitely a caliber goalie who could have won goaltender of the year, and I think Simon got it, and he had the number of starts over it. I would have picked Simon too because of that stat, like the number of starts versus either of those guys. Even though essentially Hampton goes undefeated in regulation, and Cam has the lone loss to Arizona State in conference play, which is the numbers they look at. But no, I think they did a really good job with a lot of the awards, and it was just the fact that those guys had to split the net that cost both of them any shot at awards.
Yep.
So I think it'll be fun. Just going with Hampton. I'm gonna try. We'll see how expensive it is, but I think Hampton's still probably eligible for World Juniors this year.
He should be. I mean, he was one of the youngest players in NCAA.
Yeah. So I think that'll be fun to watch these guys, since it is in Minnesota this year, try to get tickets to at least one of the games, because that's the best showcase for these college players. And I think it'll be more interesting when you have these CHL players now that have come down that are playing in the United States, because the majority of the Canadian team was in the CHL.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see those kids play.
What an incredible run Hampton Stukinski had last year. Clark Cup champion with Fargo. His college career hits a heavy speed bump with the coach stepping down from Northern Michigan. Not really sure where they're going to go. Western goes, hey, we got a spot for you and Grant. We'll figure out what to do with the goalie room. We'll split starts or whatever. Comes in, has an incredible year. Leaves in the middle of the year to go play World Juniors. Picks up a gold medal, backing up Trey Augustine from Michigan State. Steps back into the net at Western. Helps them clinch their first Penrose Cup. They go to the Frozen Face-Off, win that. Win the regional. Win the national title. Gets a couple weeks off. Joins Team US, the men's team, Team USA, with the big boys. Wins a world championship there. Like, all the kid does is win freaking trophies and medals. Like, if he's not on the World Juniors team next year, they're not winning it. Like, sign that kid up for the World Juniors, the next World Championship, and the Olympics. Like, Just
Yeah,
put that
the
dude on
Trophy
your
Olympics.
team and keep winning stuff.
And he's got to get a patent on that hammer, or his mom needs to get a patent on that hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, start selling those in the bookstore. Let's go. Make money.
That actually would be kind of funny to see the lunatics with just all of the hammers, just rubber hammers.
I'm trying
I
to
could
think.
see that going awry though.
I think they had a few at one of the tournament games. I don't remember if it was the national championship game, but I think they ended up doing like somebody within themselves made a couple of hammers or something, and they had a bunch.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
But I mean, a couple of years ago, Josh Basalt's parents had foam cowboy hats made for all of the entire student section when Omaha came to visit for the playoffs, and they all ended up on the ice when Luke Granger picked up the hat trick in that playoff game. So they didn't stay with the students very long, but you know his parents made that happen. So I would hope at some point, either if it's the students themselves who figure out a way to do it, or somebody steps up and makes a bunch or orders a bunch, that like it finds their way to the student section at least once this year. That'd be fun. Only a couple more years left at Lawson before they go to the new arena. And there's some stuff standing on the site downtown now, so things are happening.
See. Yeah, we're hoping to get out this season.
Yeah, I mean, the number of opportunities are going to vanish quickly and get harder and harder to get tickets, I think, as people start realizing that, and if the team continues to play well, because they're trying to make money while they can, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we've got a few trips we're trying to make this year. I just don't know how to get to Kalamazoo from here. There's connections we can make, but I just don't know which one's going to be the easiest.
Yeah, it's about, I mean, I was looking at it. It's the same amount of drive time for me to go to Omaha as it is to go to St. Cloud. About 9 hours. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, which is about really the most I want to do in a car anymore. So if I go to Duluth, I think I'm flying into and then driving up from Minneapolis. Ollie, what are you doing, buddy? Sorry, cat's like
and 9 is
paper to chew on. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but he is driving me nuts.
9 is here to Springs, and I think we're going to go to CC this year, but we're definitely going to fly.
Yeah, I want to see the new one. I went to when they were playing at the Broadmoor Arena. That was fun.
But I've been outside of it.
I'd like to see the new arena at some point.
Yeah.
I think the fun thing will be when St. Thomas comes in. Is their new arena opening this year? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's this year because I think they're hosting Providence for game 1.
It'd be that.
Small children, maybe.
Crazy. What in the world is going on?
Just a great show. I'm so glad. So glad everything. That's how we kick it off.
Hey, it's our preseason too. But I think it'll be fun to go see the St. Thomas Arena, and that'd be easy for me to go to too, because I've been to Mariucci, been to St. Cloud. St. Thomas isn't going to be that far away either, and just go catch a game on a Thursday or Friday night and see what they've done there.
Hey, we got another friend.
Good
Perfect
evening,
timing.
Hello.
So, what's the word? What did we learn in our much more listened to and way better podcast than this shit show?
Okay, well, first of all, I love you guys. I wish somebody was on a different night so that I could, catch it more often live. Secondly, and I know that there was a lot of discussion about the CBS thing. They tried. CBS wanted more money out of the league than they were willing to deal with. They wanted to cut back on the number of games that they were doing. I think the league might have been okay with that a little bit, but also at the same time, because of no longer being at the Frozen Face-Off, I think the expense of that also made CBS balk.
Yeah, and I mean it makes sense. I mean, one, I don't want to
It
pay.
does.
I don't want to pay more for less, right? So just the first part. And I think I even brought it up. I don't remember who I brought it up to, but I think it was one of you, either Mike or Paul, when they were talking about going to campus sites. Like that was one of the first things I said. Is like if this stays on CBS Sports Network, you're not going to hire a second team. So either only one semifinal game is going to be on there, or none of them are going to be on there, and they're only going to do the final because you're not going to send two crews to two different campuses and run them back to back. You know, they have a hard enough time starting the hockey games on time with basketball going.
Well, ironically, they did tell us that the television or the televising of the semifinals and the finals not set yet. Okay. Part of the thing is CBS didn't want to allow the league to stream the games on NCHC.TV for people that didn't have access to CBS Sports Network, which is probably, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's probably in the 30% range. Not everybody has access to CBS Sports Network. It's not like the four letters in Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the way it is presented to us is that there's still a possibility of some sort of linear broadcast and that still allows them to stream it on NCHC.TV. I don't know how that would work. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying I don't know who would do that, but they are looking at separating the semifinals and the finals in terms of the streaming service. Maybe, maybe not quote at a CBS Sports Network type production standard, but a better than regular season production standard. With Alex, Dave, and Shireen at one site and getting a second. I guess it would really depend on who the other home team was.
Yeah.
And he said, Michael Weissman said it to us, so I'm not saying anything out of school here.
Right.
So, and I think that it's gonna take some time to work itself out based on what he said. That, especially with the fact that St. Thomas is coming in next year, that this is kind of a feel it out kind of year in terms of streaming and production values and that kind of thing that it was easy to watch this. If you had CBS Sports Network, they obviously had more resources to do that kind of production.
Yeah.
But that was basically what they said about the CBS deal, which I know a lot of people were interested in. Whether we agree at that the way it should be or not, it is. It doesn't look like Brent is too happy about this, but by the way, in a strange way, I love the guys that do the Omaha games. I think they're great. So I mean, from that standpoint, obviously there are different production levels because Midco does all the North Dakota games. The Duluth games are usually some sort of linear telecast.
Local TV, I hate those guys.
But it makes a difference in the production.
St. Cloud has a sports broadcasting program that the students run their stuff, and that looks pretty decent.
St. Cloud,
yeah. Colorado College and Denver, I think they split time between Altitude TV.
Yeah, they have like CC has a linear contract with one of the local channels. They don't have all the home games on there, but they have about half. The same thing with Denver. And obviously you can tell the difference from one game to the next when there is a game that's being produced by a linear station as opposed to not.
Just being run by the cameras in the building,
In-house.
drawing the radio feed.
Really hate that. I come on, guys. I mean, I get it's a cost thing, but have an extra camera somewhere so that you're not doing straight from the big screen in the arena.
Yeah,
Brent,
that's how I'm
Where's asking that much?
Where is that camera located in Omaha? Because you guys are like, that is a 40,000 foot view.
Is that in Lincoln?
The main broadcast view that is so far zoomed out, and then they don't understand the white balance and the fact that the ice is painted white and reflects all of the light. Because that
main one,
it's so bad.
Up in the press box, I'm pretty sure, like up at the very top.
Yeah, it is at the very top. Just
it's far away.
Granted, everything, all of the cameras at Western suck, and that's because that building was not built to broadcast games from.
No, but you can move the cameras. This is not 1955 anymore. The cameras are much lighter. You can move them.
Well, I mean, if you pay for cameras that are lighter, Western.
I mean, if you watch the
this is
Western has spent a lot of money on new buildings. All right, I'm not talking about the hockey arena because Western's not paying for that. I'm talking about all the other buildings on campus that have been redone in the last 15 years. They have put a lot of money into updating a lot of things, and unfortunately, Lawson Arena is not one of them. Well, not all parts of it, because it did have a couple $1 million renovation in the ice equipment redone a couple years ago, and some scoreboard updates.
There are plenty of people that would give their left arm for that blank check that Firstweiler's getting for this new building. And he is getting a blank check.
Oh yeah, no, everyone knows it. I mean, everyone knows who's building the building. It's not Western's yet. So it's independent from the university until it's not. So it's not paid by, it's not Kalamazoo taxpayer money. It's a single source investor building the building, transporting, moving women's basketball, men's basketball from the university along with the hockey team and the ECHL team to the new downtown arena, hoping to get some kind of movement downtown and make downtown easier, even though they have decided to change all of the traffic patterns downtown and make it a pain in the ass to go anywhere in that 4 city blocks that the building is going into. So, once it's up and running and everyone understands how to move around it, and flow,
and they'll change it.
Yeah, then they'll change it.
But again, and you're talking to somebody who, again, it takes this seriously from the standpoint of, I know it, life happens, but as somebody who went to school for this business, I mean, again, cameras they're not these big stationary things that they used to use in the 50s. Can we move one so you can get at least a decent center ice view of and maybe, so that the camera can actually have some flow to it that's not the big giant video board?
Absolutely not. I know at Western they
there anyway.
Yeah. No, at Western, where are the cameras? There's one just off. If you're facing center ice from the press box, which I think it would put the home team on the right, the away team on the left. There's one down right, and then there's one across and in the middle, I think. And then sometimes there's a handheld by the door that the away team comes into, which I sit right next to.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a handheld camera there. and those are the 3 that I know of in the building. And they have
Yeah.
scaffolding for everyone and their cousin as far as analytical human being or coach assistant or whatever the hell they are. And I mean it's one bowl of seats in a concourse. It's not big.
It's still, again,
and it does not get vertical at all.
One thing that's always funny when Omaha goes to Western is like the first thing you hear out of Terry's mouth is, "We are right on top of the ice.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a small place in here," and it's like,
I mean,
it's every year that they go to Lawson, it's like, Terry's going to bring up the fact that they are on top of the ice.
I mean,
It's so funny.
The press box hangs over 50% of the student seats.
Yeah.
Like if you're I think this might actually be the student section. But like from here, if whoever's sitting in this seat here looks straight up, it's the bottom of the press box. Like they could throw things down the back of the jersey of the kid sitting in the penalty box if they wanted to. Like, I mean, they're right there.
Yeah, no, in Omaha, where the side that everything is on, it's press box, and then suites, and then it's like it's concourse level. So there's nowhere you can move it down because that concourse level is the club. That's where all the quote rich people who pay to be there
people
are. And you're not going to put a camera right in the middle of that section because we need to treat these people right.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the only place over there that they can put it. Because then on the other side, I think there is a camera way up there, but it's not the main one. And then I know on the concourse level in the 4 corners, there are cameras that are, manual, but that's about it.
I just wish our cameras at UMD would not be like those early 90s.
I was gonna say, you guys like updated a little bit a couple years ago.
We upgraded. They're not like it, but the quality's still like the home movie that you see 1994 in the videotape on the bottom right hand corner. It's better now, but that's kind of what it seems like. Even in arena on the scoreboard, and I love Amsoil Arena. I think it's a beautiful arena. But we did talk with Commissioner Weems about this in the student broadcast, but it's all up to the school and how much they want to invest in those particular programs. And I'm like, I will sacrifice quality if kids get to learn and how to do it better. But it's not something that the conference can really do. It has to be with the programs like a St. Cloud has their broadcasting program.
Yeah, except there are supposed to be at least some minimum standards.
Well, we're hitting minimum standards, all right?
Well,
if you want the standard to be 33 pieces of flare, make the standard 33 pieces of flare. Otherwise, I'm sticking to the 15. And we're at 15.
Let's just say I have had my, I don't know if the right word is frustrations, or I can't even count the number of times I have shaken my head over a production at a place that's supposed to be specializing in this and can't get the white balance, or they can't, or after all these, can't afford a second graphics computer. Are you kidding me?
I think there was a pretty important game last year. You may know at least one of the teams that played in it, Paul.
Really?
Kind of unwatchable at the
kind of,
big game. I don't know who the other team was. I know Arizona State was definitely. They might have been the home team, and it could have been a first place game. Not entirely sure how that game ended. Based on records, I could determine who the away team won and did not get swept that weekend.
I can only sit here and tell you that there's supposed to be, theoretically, somebody in charge. Okay.
Then that person in charge was either indulging in some wobbly pops or fell asleep. But
Well, see, here's the thing. There used to
biggest
be
game
a
of the
guy.
year.
There used to be a guy in charge, and may you rest in peace. Okay, a bunch of years ago, and I don't know if they ever replaced. But even before he got sick, I had so many issues.
I think part of it was they were to a degree, I think they were unprepared.
You think?
Their expectations did not meet the reality. I don't know if they expected to find themselves in that situation late in the year and dependent upon their system to try and put that out.
Get there 2 hours early and get it straight.
Hey,
figure it out.
Put some more wireless boosters somewhere. I don't know. If the league's going to operate on an internet-based platform like NCHC TV, those are things they're going to have to do. I mean,
when you were in, say, an older building that was temporary, even at that point, it was not acceptable. The level of, quote, non-oversight. And I have asked over time, does anybody?
I'm just saying, if you're getting outproduced,
but it shouldn't happen in a new building
by an Alaska team live streaming to YouTube, you got some work to do.
Again, Wes, this shouldn't happen in a new building.
No, it shouldn't.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to see Western's production get a lot better when they go downtown in a couple of years. At least that's the hope. But no, and we've been told and we've pointed out, like, it's up to the universities and I think Arizona State might be one of those schools where they, like I said, they weren't expecting to find themselves in the position they did. They weren't expecting the hockey program to be as competitive as it was. They weren't expecting to be in the Premier Conference at this point, or whatever it may be. They're trying to sink money into football and make sure that football is the number one program because that's the money.
But they don't do the production on football. Okay.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcast, of Journalism and Telecommunication. Okay. And that makes you and I know, again, I'm dating myself. You people that are watching this, Google it. But Walter Cronkite is supposed to be the standard. Okay, no, way too many times.
Maybe they're putting out highly polished pieces on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's engagement. I don't know. But I know that hockey takes a backseat in 99% of areas where it exists other than Canada.
Wes, I totally understand that. But there are just some basics that it should not matter.
Oh, no, I 100% agree.
It should not matter. And I'm sorry, and you have every right, and I know you're pissed, and we all know what game you're talking about. And it's an embarrassment. It's a complete embarrassment.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Western has some... I've been about Western's broadcast every year that we've talked about it. I hate the fact... Don't get me wrong. I think Robin Hook does a fantastic job and makes a great call. My problem is not with him. It's the fact that video broadcasting and radio broadcasting are two completely different animals. And to take the radio broadcast and overlay it with the video, it's a disservice to both parties.
I agree. I totally get it. And listen, I know the guys that do ASU stuff, and it's obviously a different production when the local station has a firsthand. It's not quite like Duluth, but you definitely can tell the difference. But it's about those simple production values. Like, how do you not make sure that there's, and I guess it's technology. You can always sit there and say, well, things happen, but there was clearly no backup.
No, that was the biggest flaw.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was the biggest game of the year for both schools up until that point.
Yeah.
But back to the CBS stuff. I think Brent was in favor of it dropping out I'm moderately indifferent. I don't know where you guys fall. I think I care more about it, not so much as a fan, but just for the conference as a whole loses exposure.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and the thing is, like, yeah, so decisions are not made for the diehard fan. I think we all understand and realize this, right? Like, at least I hope we do. The diehards are always going to be the diehards. They're locked in no matter what. You're trying to get the diehards will go from Big Ten network if they're playing a Big Ten team, to ESPN if they're playing an East Coast team, to Hulu with live TV to get CBS Sports Network, to NCHC
Flow.
TV, to Flow. Wherever the game is, the diehards are going to find it.
Yeah, I'm not paying Flow. They're a ripoff.
I won't either.
It's stupid expensive.
Yeah.
So the diehards aren't losing anything other than a chance to listen to Dave Starman and his stories, and Shireen and Alex for 8 games out of the year, 11 if you include the playoffs.
By the way, I volunteered with Michael Weissman that I would be more than happy to be involved in that other semifinal game. Right? I volunteered. I just
but it's the casual fan that we lose. Maybe the guy who has their TV on and they're falling asleep to the basketball game and they wake up in the middle of a great hockey game and they watch for 10 minutes and they go, oh, who's that kid? Oh, he's drafted by the Penguins. All right, I live in Pittsburgh and I might see him in a few years if you're talking about Yona Väisänen from Western Michigan, whatever. That's what they're losing. They're losing a little bit of exposure to potentially pick up a casual fan here and there. They're losing coverage by a great duo or trio, however you want to phrase it, with Alex, Dave, and Shireen. Like, they did a great job. I think everyone knows that and appreciates that and knows the time and the effort that Dave put into when you listen to other people talk about hockey and then you listen to him, it's not even close. But those are the things that are lost. Or, the Alex's ability to understand big moments and call them no matter what the team is. Not be
and he does that.
North Dakota.
He does
guy.
that in the North Dakota broadcast as well.
Yeah.
Even though he knows it's the local audience, he's really, really good. I had no idea what to expect as I watch these teams over time, and they're as good as anybody. And all you have to do is watch the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And I know we've had this right. Everybody in Connecticut is all Hockey East all of the time. And they do zero research on any of the other teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than being able to see, oh, this guy was drafted by the Ottawa Senators. That's it. They do zero research. They barely watch the games that are in their neighborhood.
Weren't you guys called the Western Michigan Mustangs?
We were called the Western Michigan Mustangs. Constantini was called Constantino like 18 times during the tournament. They figured out who Alex Bump was, because he's every time Alex Bump got brought up, Keith Jones was brought up. Those guys are in the same organization now. He's gonna be a Philadelphia Flyer. Who's looking at who was out there looking at him? Keith Jones was here a couple days ago, but he left before the finals. I don't know how many times they told that goddamn story. And hey, did you guys know this? I think Colby scored a game-winning goal in the NCAA finals for BU. Really? For BU one year. What? Yeah, it might even have been against Miami in 2009 or some shit. I think that was brought up every 5 minutes of every period.
I mean, that's exactly like, did you know Adam Thielen went undrafted and is from Minnesota, from Detroit Lakes? Like, it's those stupid things. And even there was, I might have been at a Wild game or something, but they had, UMD was playing on ESPN. So they had the game up. Minnesota hockey were good like that. That 4-letter station had the most confounding way of saying University of Minnesota Duluth. It was like Minnesota University Duluth University. I'm like,
dude, You're listen. You're talking to a guy who has the most unique nickname in college sports, or one of the more unique nicknames in college sports, and the number of times they get it right. Forget the number of times they get it wrong. The number of times they get it right and don't say we're the other school in the state is mind-boggling. And these are supposed to be the quote-unquote sports leader.
Yeah. Hey, did you know Hampton and Grant Sukinski are brothers? From
Really?
from War Road, Minnesota.
I mean, just ridiculous.
It's so bad.
Just insane. Just to do the slightest bit of research. The slightest.
No, it's not like their last name is Johnson, and
Yeah.
like kind of together they're related somehow.
And the problem is, they're the big dog.
You know where War Road, Minnesota is? It's just south of Canada.
Right,
Big
South
hockey,
Canada.
big hockey city. That's what I learned during the national championship game.
Now I'm probably the only one without looking on a map that knows where it is. But
War Road?
yeah.
It's up near Canada.
Oh man!
I mean, it's just.
Did you know TJ Oshie also
TJ
played
Oshie, Jonathan Taves.
Really?
I don't think Taves isn't from War Road.
Oh no, he went to North Dakota.
Yeah, he went to North Dakota.
Yeah.
That's
but
almost like
Oshie's from War Road.
that's almost like that.
Sorry, usually they just bring up North Dakota shit, so you just like all when they mention
Right.
TJ Oshie.
And if Denver's in a game, well, Troy Terry had 5 penalty shot, shootout goals in the fucking that. Troy Terry hasn't been at Denver since 2009.
Yeah.
I wonder if he played against Colby and BU in that NCAA tournament back in 2009. Here, that guy's a freaking hero in the tournament.
It's just insane.
This is the most coverage that guy has gotten outside of the NCAA tournament since 2009.
And by the way, you're supposed to be one of those guys is supposed to be the college hockey guru, the guy who is the #1 promoter of college hockey, and he's just as bad.
That dude's all about his chicken parm and overtime challenge.
Just as bad.
That the actual polls come out, and then his poll comes out, and there's like 1 or 2 differences, but it's basically the identical things. Like, this is my power rankings.
Listen, you guys, if you guys know anything about me, I hate the polls.
Hey, I think Paul might have had the most accurate poll for the longest time in college hockey based on the turnout there at the end of the year. And it's not just because he had Western Michigan #1 for a long, long time. Deservedly so and incorrectly, but just saying.
And we do it because it fills time, but I don't like doing it. I think it's nonsense. Because first of all, it's like the other sports though too. You have a preseason poll. It pretty much poisons the well against any team that's not expected to win. Yeah. Okay. And it also does it in reverse. Like, there were times where I wanted to drop teams, but I'm like, how can I do it? Because nobody else is winning. And I hate it. I hate it. But
for me, like, I was arguing against people who had Denver so high. I was like, who have they played at the beginning of the year when you were stacking with that? I get they were just the national defending champions.
They were defending champs. They were 12-0.
But if you were looking at the way they played those games, it was not the same Denver team. And
but I'm not going to be any different this year. Western's going to be 1 until somebody beats them.
I mean, week 1, I would put the defending national championship at #1. But depending on how that first week goes, I could drop them super quick.
We were talking about this earlier. It's how does the team play? The new team plays, and that's Wes's big thing. You can have them the highest opinion of them that you want.
And I totally get that. But again, and in terms of Western, I look at their roster, and did they lose some big pieces? Yes, they did. But I don't think they lost enough where, to begin with, they're not starting at 1. And let me just do this here because I'm sure you guys have it up, but I don't.
Yeah, I can.
This is our
Well, you know
preseason
what?
week.
I forget. You know what? If you try to go through to Western's website from a neutral party, it always says this is a dangerous website. Do you still want to go here? Did you know that?
Nope, I don't have that problem.
If you go from
Or I've
one
ex-
of the
I've accepted that risk.
popular or more well-known college hockey websites, you can't click on go to official site for Western
Good.
and get through to the site.
Hey, we're dangerous.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Look at what we did last year. We're dangerous.
But you're gonna open up with Ferris and Lowell.
Yeah, we have
And
Ferris
those
again.
teams and those teams are gonna be they got nothing to lose. Ferris has got a new coach. Lowell is again, they have nothing to lose. And then you're gonna play that home and home with the blue and yellow school. And that will probably be the tell. I hope they have moved that game to a Thursday night because it's going to be on regular cable TV. But who knows? Otherwise, why would you do it?
Let's see if U of M has announced the game time. It's still TBD on
Right.
Western.
But if you're not if you didn't move, if you move that game to a Thursday night, you better be putting it on Big Ten Network. And I don't mean Big Ten Plus either.
Oh, it'll end up on Big Ten Plus. I can almost guarantee it.
Okay.
That's the dumb thing that the Big Ten does. Like they don't even maybe they have a similar internet presence to what NCHC TV does, but their cable station can only produce or do one game. So the most hockey you could get is two if one's on Big Ten Plus and one's on Big Ten Network.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, and they've had doubleheaders on Big Ten Network before, but you had the conference dole out some cash to these 7 schools because they want to increase the visibility of the hockey programs. Okay, all you gotta do is check the rosters to figure out where the money went, but that's another story. Okay. So you better, if you're going to invest in it that way, and you're moving these games to a Thursday night, and there's a bunch of them, there's like 5 or 6 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Why would you not put that as part of your conference network inventory? That makes 0 sense not to do that. But again, and these are supposed to be hockey people. These are supposed to be people in the quote, that understand what's going on. Okay.
Everybody wants to talk about growing the sport, but
except they don't want to do anything about it.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything about it.
Uh-huh.
They want to make money off of it. They don't want to spend money to actually do it the right way, or donate money to do it the right way, whatever it may be.
I assume in those places that the green and white team, the yellow and blue team, the other maroon and gold team, and the red and white team probably all make money. And I don't know about the other 3. The blue and white team in Pennsylvania might make money now, or more money now, coming off of Frozen 4. I don't know what Notre Dame is going to be, and I don't know what Ohio State's going to be every year. They have been the most up and down team in the last 3 years in that league, depending on which half of the season we're talking about. And again, Penn State is playing that, and here's the question. You made a big deal, so much so that you had a future potential number 1 pick announce his commitment to play college hockey on your airwaves. There is no excuse to not have that game on Friday, October 3rd in Tempe be on your airwaves. I've already checked the football schedule. There's almost no football scheduled for any of the channels that night.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. I mean, that's prime high school time. They usually go to midweek
And the
or
game
early
is
or late week.
and the game in and it'll still be Pacific time in Tempe. So there's no excuse. Whatever you had, you went through there, and it was cringy as hell because the guy doing the interview also did no research at all.
No.
Okay, it was
I
cringy.
didn't even watch that nonsense.
Well, I was curious to see how it would go, but if you
No.
made the effort to promote his commitment, don't you have to take the next step and show that game? Yeah, I understand you're not going to show the Saturday game because you got all the football. I totally
Yeah.
get that. But the
No, you
first
should-
game on Friday night in the Pacific time zone,
Yeah.
you have 4 channels you can show it on that are, quote, linear. Pay the NCHC whatever they need to get paid and do the effing game.
They should have had his school choice on Pat McAfee show, just like everyone else now.
All the football, yeah. All the football dudes.
All the football guys do it on Pat's show.
Okay,
Might as well
so,
just do it
but
there.
that's
Well, at least he has a tie to college football. I mean,
right.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
he lost
that's
his
the vibe. Like,
he lost his ties to hockey really when they canceled their hockey show that they did Tuesday nights through Wednesday nights.
yeah.
So I mean that's one, and again, I blast on a regular basis, if you guys know, the NHL. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, hell,
Yes, you have the easy. I mean, college football and college basketball are what they are. Okay. But Major League Baseball and the NHL, in their infinite stupidity, make the investment, show a college game of the week.
I mean, TSN
Have people exposed to these players coming up so they get to know them before they hit your ice. Try to get, you're not going to get to the level of college football and college basketball, but make the attempt. Don't you make the investment. It's an investment in growing your game.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I think
TSN goes out of
hockey-
their way to try and get an American college hockey game on their network every once in a while.
They get a lot of games on one of their networks. I mean, are they picking up specific games because they don't have to do any production on it? Yes, but that's not the point.
I think the thing hockey, it should be easier to do a college game of the week to invest fans in particular star players because
Well, hell, there's only 30 games a week.
in baseball,
Show
these
all
kids
the
are coming
leagues,
out
though,
of
Mike.
college.
Show all the leagues. Give every league a shot.
But like, my whole point is, in baseball, there's so many next steps to the majors.
Agreed.
And so you see a kid playing in college. It's not he could be a superstar. Just for my local town, he could be like a Joe Mauer, and you know he's going to get there. But sometimes, like any sport, that doesn't pan out. But for college hockey or any of these other leagues, there is more of a realistic possibility that if that kid is a superstar, that you hear his name within the hockey community, that he is going to make that jump.
And you already
Right away.
know, and you already know 2/3 of the times because the kid's been drafted.
Well, I mean,
Mhm.
also Brent knows that baseball has a slight step up above college hockey at least because the College World Series is there in Omaha, and that's almost in the middle of the dead pro season. So they get pretty good coverage of the college baseball World Series on ESPN.
But ESPN is all SEC and ACC.
Right.
You're not, in one of those leagues. This is where Major League Baseball
Until you get to the College World Series.
right. Major League Baseball. You have February and March and April I'm not telling you to not show your 95,000 exhibition games, but and everybody knew who Paul Skeens was when he got drafted by the Pirates. Does anybody know who the second pick in that draft was, or the third pick, or the next college player that was drafted after Paul Skeens?
Sure don't.
Anybody?
Nope.
I don't.
Yeah, I got no idea.
Probably not.
Okay, but I get, if you showed a few of his games on MLB Network, maybe I do, and maybe I take an interest in this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all called marketing. We know hockey doesn't like to market individual players. That's part of the reason why they're behind. But okay, and it's not going to be an overnight thing. But hey, NHL Network, I understand you're trying. You show TSN you pick up TSN games for junior hockey. How about a Friday night college hockey game of the week? Show some teams from Atlantic Hockey. Show some teams from the ECAC. I know they're already on ESPN Plus or whatever, but can we expose the players to a different audience? And maybe you find people that are interested in growing the game.
Hey, I mean, and here's the thing that hockey has a heads up on every other pro sport is some of these guys are already drafted. Some of them already know where they're going to be going to the pros.
That's my point.
So you don't have
They've
to
already been drafted.
Yeah, they don't have to make a name for themselves. They don't have to go out and be like show out like Paul Skeens to earn that number 1 draft pick. They're already done. Already done. You could have had Zeev Bulian was a 6th overall pick this last year. You could have picked any Denver game and been like, if you're a Minnesota, he was drafted by Minnesota. If you're even a local Minnesota affiliate team, like, hey, Denver's playing St. Cloud State. Let's throw this game up on a few more channels. Let's put it out there a little bit heavier because we got the next kid coming to Minnesota, to the Minnesota Wild playing Friday night against St. Cloud State or Duluth or whoever.
And I know you guys probably know who this guy is, but and I'm going back to baseball here. You guys probably know who Andy Bennis is or was or okay, maybe
I'm not pretty sure if I know that
pitcher
name.
for the Cardinals.
Okay.
And the Padres. Okay, so all right. I'm dating myself.
If he's not a Tiger, I don't know who he is.
Anyway, the year he was drafted, he was pitching at Evansville University. Now, granted, it's the mid '80s, and I understand it's different circumstances, but it still illustrates a point. Okay. The Padres had the number 1 pick that year. They didn't know who they were going to pick. There was no right. Evansville got to the NCAA tournament because of him. They were sent to Tempe to play ASU in a regional as the number 4 seed in the regional. And he shut them down 1-0. This is a team that made it to the NCAA championship that year. And he shut down this basically stacked lineup 1-0. And convinced the Padres this is the guy we got to have. Now imagine if there's another guy like that at a small school like Evansville. Maybe you build up a little bit of excitement for this guy. And oh, wow. I'm not trying to compare him to Michael Jordan. And I'm not trying to compare him to Saquon Barkley or whatever. But you start to build up a little bit of knowledge of who this guy is before he gets drafted, before he, before it figures out what's going on. I mean,
you know what I saw on Saturday night when I was working at the bar this weekend? College or high school football games on ESPN.
It's ridiculous. It's
ridiculous.
Yeah. You can find a way to put high school football on ESPN, but you can't figure out how to do one game of college hockey a week. That's not
well.
They do that with basketball too.
Yeah,
and you can't tell me that they're
basketball.
making money on those broadcasts. You can't tell me that they are. That the production costs are not more than they're not bringing in the revenue, unless they're just piggybacking it off of college. You can't tell me that those places are making the revenue off those games. They're just not.
No, there's no way.
There's no way.
And going back to these kids, like Quinnipiac. They'll come into the Frozen Four. Hell, they won the national title. You don't know who these kids are because you never see them. And
I mean,
I'm not actively going to watch an ECAC game, an Atlantic hockey game, but there are good players that can come out of there. There's just a reputation for the league, but you never know who you're going to find.
Guy Gadowski's kid played 2 years at Army, and he is that good, but nobody saw him play.
No,
nobody.
Yeah.
Hell, Michigan was it 3 years ago had 4 kids out of the top 5 in the NHL draft all on one team. You're telling me that team didn't deserve to be on a national broadcast once a month, once a week, outside of the Big Ten network?
But again, if you're the NHL network, why aren't you showing one of their games?
Yeah, I mean, you had Owen Powers, one of the Hughes,
Kent Johnson,
Bernier, in
Matty
Seattle.
Bernier.
Yeah, at Seattle.
And Kent Johnson.
Yeah. And you're telling me those kids, you couldn't have put them on ESPN once a week, once a month, once every couple of weeks?
They had no
the NHL network, that's the other.
Isn't NHL network and MLB network owned by the same person? Or
they are for now.
And then NFL network's owned separately. It's owned by like NFL Films or the NFL league itself, right?
Yes. Now they sold part of it to ESPN.
Yeah,
people are worried about Red Zone and if they're going to screw with the Red Zone.
But my issue is it kind of. I had NHL Network for a few years just with my cable package. That's what it came with. But like CBS Sports Network, I didn't have that for the longest time. It's not a commonplace channel. MLB Network is more so just because it's, I think, more.
Well,
By the way, Major League Baseball's app is like the number one sports app. The MLB at Bat app is like the number one sports app in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say baseball is dying, baseball's not dying.
No,
it's just being consumed differently.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to get to a game on a Wednesday at 1:00. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. Well, what I realized this year because we sometimes subscribe to the MLB app, so we have it. And it's great because you can basically get any game that's not blacked out in your area. But I realized this year, too, you also get minor league baseball. So I get to watch our team wherever they're at. I get to watch every game. So that doubles the amount of games that I can watch. So any night, basically, I have baseball to watch.
Storm Chasers?
Let me get this in before I forget. You guys know that Miami is going to Ireland this year for the Friendship 4.
Yeah.
We almost got him to spill the beans, but Michael Weissman did say that for this year and 3 next years, there will be an NCHC team going to that tournament. Expect next year's team to be announced in the next couple of weeks.
Now, I know I suspect Omaha is one of those teams because Gabinette said last year when at a Blue Line Club meeting, because last year we went to Vegas for a tournament. We went to California for a tournament. Someone asked if there were any other big trips potentially, and someone brought up Miami going to the Friendship 4. And he said potentially they were in talks of being one of those teams.
All right. So like you said, this year's Miami, and the next 3 years after this season, there will be an NCHC team. They obviously already know who they are. We almost got him to say it. We almost we were that close. We almost got it just in the normal course of conversation. We almost got him to say it.
Just lulled them to sleep, the little rope-a-dope, and then
that's pretty much what we were trying. Unexpectedly, but that's what we were trying.
And Western football opens in Germany against U of M next year, so
why why not play a rivalry game thousands of miles away?
Is it a rivalry game?
No,
though?
not for football.
I mean, it's not a rival. What's an in-state game though?
Yeah.
Like an in-state, they're within 2 hours of each other. Why not just take them across the
Hour and a
sea
half.
and play?
Yeah. I don't. That's like people saying ASU and Northern Arizona this week. That's a rivalry. It's not a rivalry. They're not even the same level.
No, it depends on the sport. I would say that hockey is definitely a rivalry.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And has only gotten better as Western has gotten better, and Michigan's kind of. I don't want to say that
competitive.
they've stagnated.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're going to be very. They have themselves a goalie this year. Ivan Kovic is a stud. And where most of these Big Ten teams have not got. I mean, I still don't believe the Penn State Georgiev or whatever his name is. I don't believe that's a big time goalie. I don't think Wisconsin has a goalie to speak of. I'm not a believer in like am I saying it right? No, he's not even. They got Riedler from Omaha, who I think is a solid goalie. I don't think he's going to make any mistakes, but I guess Sergeyev left because he's not on the roster for this year. I don't. Ohio State. They don't have a goalie. Notre Dame. They're the only one that plays defense, but Nicholas Kemp is decent. He's on the NDD. He was on the NDDP. Michigan State, obviously. And I'm still. I know that. The other maroon and gold team, better known as the effing Gophers, picked up a transfer from Michigan State, but to me, they don't have any goaltending.
Well, and we were talking about this earlier because Motzko was on a radio program that I was listening to here locally and today, and the kid he picked up from Michigan State realized he's like, well, Augustine
I'm not
comes
playing
back.
behind Augustine.
He's like, I'm not going to be able to play it all. So, yeah, I played 7 games, did well. Where am I going? Motzko goes, we don't have a proven goalie, number one goalie yet. Come here, try to win it out. Try to win the job. So we'll see what they have. But that's about as much Gophers information as I will get or.
Well, but listen, they'll be. I mean, they're going to score. They're going to. I mean, you look at the guys they have. They're going to score. The issue is, are they going to stop anybody? And I can't sit here and look at this roster and say, when the game's on the line, here are the defensemen they're going to have on there, on the ice. And is the Pasco a decent goalie? Probably, but he ain't winning you games.
Good numbers, yeah.
He's not winning you games. He had a year to win that job before Augustine got there, and couldn't do it.
Is it the one I think it is? See their primary backup last year?
DePasqua?
Yeah.
In Michigan State?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so he's the one who, beat Western at the GLI, but that's not a trophy we care about. We didn't need that one.
Listen, you're not winning every game, college hockey.
Just saying.
You're not going undefeated. You're going to lose 8 to 10 games a year no matter who you are, unless you are an insane team.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. Just saying,
So
he played pretty well that game. One of the few goalies that got to Western, or did not let Western get to him. Only gave up 1.
Happens again. You hit a post. You hit 2 posts. Right.
Get a couple of goals waved off. There were a lot of waved off goals that game. A lot of reviews being won that series. that weekend.
So again, Ferris is going to be good to start the year, or a challenge, because they're going to play for a new coach. Oh, you're playing Lowell on the road, and then you have the big home and home.
I think Ferris has former North Dakota goalie. Yes.
Yeah.
Hobie had
Yeah.
Yep.
That one.
Hedquist.
Hobie
Yeah.
Hedquist.
Yeah, and he brought one of his goalies from LIU. I don't think he brought over the better goalie, but he did.
That was, I think. I'm trying to remember if Western played against Hobie. I think they did. I think he was in the first game at North Dakota. No. Maybe it was the Saturday game.
Because I'll sit here and oh, this is last year. 25, 26.
Oh, TJ played the Saturday game and got lit up.
He brought over Noah Ruprecht and a bunch of guys from LIU when he got the job.
Well, he played the Friday game. He lost 3-2.
I'm going to guess those guys are going to go back and forth until one of them takes the job. So,
yeah.
But they'll be good. That league will be better this year. Be more balanced anyway. I don't, I think it's again, I don't think anybody can predict what this year is going to be. You assume that certain teams, because of guys they brought in, will be expected to win, but I don't think anybody has any idea how this whole CHL and those sorts of things are going to affect how the game is played on the ice. I mean, to me, if you're doing a preseason ballot and let alone a top 20, I don't really think there's any way that anybody is going to know. I think just like the transfer portal, now you add this in there, and I think this is going to be 2 or 3 years before it kind of finds its sea legs.
I think if you're doing a preseason poll this year, it's not so much going to be the rosters or the freshmen that you're looking at. You have to look at who came back.
Yeah.
What were the pieces that were lost? How important were they? And then the biggest thing is the coaching staff. Is it a coaching staff who's been with that team a while? Have they shown either improvement every year, stability in the program? Have they made their players better? And have they made their players fit the system that they want to play? And I think if you use those criterias, or that criteria, it's why I've always put Western closer to the top in the NCHC than a lot of teams have since Frischweiler has taken over. I think if you look at the track record, Frisch is a coach that I trust extremely, up there. He has proven year in and year out that he can improve a team, he can improve players, he can develop players, and he can get a team to buy in quickly, and produce on the ice.
Again, Denver to me is the same thing.
Yep. I would put Carl up there with one of those coaches that I entrust immensely.
And I think this year, and let's forget about it, we're all NCHC people in here. And I think this year is going to be absolutely brutal in the league. You have, I mean, I think there's a clear delineation where I could, if you sat there and asked me to do it, I think in whatever order you think is the right one, Denver, North Dakota, Western, and ASU, top 4, with Omaha and a very much improved and dangerous Duluth team could sneak up into the top 4. Miami's going to be better. Is it going to be good enough? I don't know. Probably not. But I'm very curious to see what happens with Colorado College. I think there are things going on there, or there have been things going on there that we don't know about. And with St. Cloud, I think it's going to be them in Miami fighting it out for the bottom until St. Cloud shows me that they have a goalie.
I think. I put North. I hate doing this because they every time.
I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just saying they're
No.
probably the top 4.
No, I know, but I hate North Dakota. I hate them so much.
I am not.
It's not. They have, I think, the most question marks for me right now. Again, they go to the portal for a goaltender.
2 of them.
Yes, but I mean, like, they're trying to establish their goaltender from the portal for the 4th straight year. I think it is 4th or 5th straight year since the portal opened.
It's almost kind of an identity too.
Yeah,
for the team as a whole.
Yeah. Homer came in and played. Homer played extremely well at ASU. I think TJ struggled a little more than he was expecting to struggle at North Dakota. I don't know if it was the pressure of the games or what. I think Gibson will have a slight advantage having played in the NCHC before going to North Dakota and understanding the teams a little bit better. But that place is still just a different animal as far as pressure goes. You have a new coach who was able to convince quite a few guys to stay after, some of them were making discussion that they were going to dip out if the coach selection wasn't who they wanted, or if Barry was or wasn't the coach.
Players are running that roost.
That I don't like. I do think Minnesota Duluth is going to be a much improved team. We saw that at the end of the year last year. The freshmen started finding ways to click. The Plant brothers played extremely well all year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're only going to get better with the more experience they get. I think Miami will be improved. I don't think they're going to be entirely in the basement by themselves. I think St. Cloud State's going to take a step back, missing that top-tier goaltender that they had in Posh. Hopefully they can find something that's serviceable. But they struggled without Posh in the middle of the year. It was completely noticeable. Colorado College, they're up and down, man. Sometimes if you looked at Mayott's post-game interviews, it was like the dude was completely lost. His body language did not match what you saw on the ice.
He's not happy with his team last year. They didn't play well.
And Umberko struggled a bit last year. He's got to find it for a senior year. Arizona. Yeah, I mean the mystery of Arizona State has been lifted. I don't think we still know the full story there. Their locker room always seems, you hear things coming out of their locker room and that coaching staff and kind of wonder if they win in spite of their coach as opposed to for their coach. So there's still a question mark, but they're not going to surprise anybody. I think they surprised a lot of people last year just because they were the unknown. And we might see the same thing with St. Thomas when they make the jump over to the conference. Omaha is kind of a question mark to some degree. I think they lost a lot. They're bringing in a lot from the CHL, and a lot of their downfall was injuries. If they can stay healthy, can they be the team we saw kind of at the very beginning of last year and started to see again at the end of the year? And the team that made the Frozen Face-Off final 2 years ago. Finally.
Well, here's the thing that, again, Omaha has and CC has, right? The goaltending. Umberko should be better than he was last year. And Licozzi won any number of games.
Oh, yeah.
For Omaha last year that they had no business winning.
Yeah.
And then, Denver is Denver. They're replacing Matt Davis, who had some ups and downs, but he's gone. So they're a little bit of a question mark in net. They lose Zeev Buyam, who had the ability to take over games and probably won them some games, or at least kept them in games closer than they could have been, should have been.
But here's the trust thing, right? You give David Carl the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
Would I put that? Are they going to be a quote top 10 team to start the season? Probably. I think the weakness in goal prevents you from saying, "Oh yeah, they're going to win the conference." Because I mean, obviously the goalie with the best team in front of him and the best combination of that and the goalie is Western Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, 2, 3, and 4 to me is a toss up. Duluth is going to be dangerous. Does CC get consistent play from Mberico? Does Lacosi continue to carry Omaha on his shoulders? Oh, we have no idea what St. Cloud and Miami are going to be. Miami will be better. We just don't know how much better because the league is just a gauntlet.
Yeah. And like I brought up at the beginning of the show, nearing something. The Miami coach. He's trying to put the band. Yeah, that guy. He's trying to put the band back together, bring in some of his former players from his USHL days to Miami. And I think if you like those players, good on you.
Right.
Can they compete with the style of play that the NCHC is? I think it takes a distinct type of player to play in this conference, and I think it's why this conference has won championships in the number they have. And in some of the championship games have absolutely dominated games. And Western was not the first one to walk into that national championship game and take control of it for all 60 minutes. I mean, really, the tightest game of that tournament was what? Western versus Denver as far as in the final week. Western played every game pretty close, but they, a lot of that was just they couldn't beat the goaltender, but they were controlling games right and left, and puck possession was stupid in favor of Western in a lot of games. Just came down to beating the goalie. And then the
weight comes down to.
Yeah. And then the national title game, they controlled the puck and they beat the goalie a bunch. But yeah, it's always interesting to see the number of transfer guys come in and play the style that the NCHC likes to play. Because it's amongst the 9 teams that play, they all play a very similar style. You look at the Big Ten teams all play a similar style. Hockey East, they all play a similar style. There's not one team that really goes too far out of the norm in those games. And then when interconference play comes around, last year the NCHC struggled a little bit until it mattered, and then there were 2 teams from the NCHC in the final out of the Final Four.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see all the coaches this year make a special emphasis on the non-league games because I don't think they want to be in that situation again where the second place team, whoever it is, doesn't make the conference, doesn't make the NCAA tournament. That there's not that there's the more close to the normal 4 to 5 from the league that make the tournament.
Yeah, and I think this is like the second year in a row that at least a top 3 or 4 NCHC team did not make the tournament and a team below them did.
Yeah, well, that's weird enough in and of itself. We're gonna see what the change in the system brings, but
because this year it was Denver. They leapfrogged Omaha and Arizona State to make the.
They should finish second in the league.
Yeah,
I don't think has that ever happened in the NCHC where the team that finished second in the league did make the NCAA tournament.
No, because the year before it was Denver made it as the number 1, North Dakota made it as the 2, Omaha made it as 3, and then Western made it out of the 5 and jumped Colorado College to make the tournament. But so yeah, those non-conference games matter. just as much to the teams that have the auto shot if they win the conference tournament as they do to the independent schools. And that was kind of what hurt Arizona State to some degree, is they were constantly they played the teams that they had long-standing tradition of playing from their independent days, which unfortunately are
those
not
deals
always
were
the
already
best
in
teams.
place. So,
So
but I don't think that'll happen this year. Their non-conference schedule is much different. Is Penn State? They play. They're actually playing Notre Dame, I believe, and I think I gotta look it up because I'm an idiot. You would think I'd have it memorized by now, but I don't. Yeah, they're playing Notre Dame, not Fairbanks, in the icebreaker,
there you go.
because they don't want to put they had the choice and didn't want to put themselves in that spot again. They're playing at Augustana. They're playing home against Ohio State, at Dartmouth, and then their home their own tournament, which I'm trying to remember who they're going to play in that, but they're if they finish second in league again this year, I don't see where that be an issue. But
So I guess it just depends on how well the conference was as a whole, and two, how much favorite, how much of a favorite does Hockey East collect along the way.
Well, that's it. That's why I'm saying I think you're going to see that the league coaches are going to put more of an emphasis on the non-league games this year than maybe they might have in the past, and no slow starts, because you do, and part of that was, and I don't like to say this, but part of that is Miami was so bad that, but they were not as good non-conference as they normally are.
Yeah, Miami struggled. Omaha really only had the one notable win, I think, like the first weekend in the tournament you guys played.
It was against Minnesota.
Yeah. And then the injury bug crept in, and you guys were ISOL and JWF for most of the season.
Swept at home by Augustana, who then lost to Stonehill. Yeah. And that was like, okay.
And I'm sorry. I mean, the NCAA tournament proved it. Hockey East was a paper tiger. The Big Ten was a paper tiger. I know Penn State got hot and made it to the Frozen Four, but you look at the results of the NCAA tournament, and it proved once again what league was better. And Minnesota State got screwed by having to play Western in the first round.
Yeah.
Or might have even been worse for Hockey East and the Big Ten.
So, but yep, no, last year was fun. Full of firsts. This year, I think, is going to be just as much fun, if not more fun. I don't think
till January.
Yeah, I don't think every year, like, a team seems to pull away or just do something stupid and be god awful. But I don't think we're going to see Miami go 0-for again in the conference.
No.
I don't think Western's going to really. I don't think the first place team is really going to run away with it and finish 10 points ahead of second place.
Probably not.
I do think that we are going to see more than 2 NCHC teams in the NCAA tournament. I think the coaching staffs are too good. The goaltenders are too good. The conference as a whole is too good. And it was just an off year, and every once in a while you're going to have one of those.
And 2 through 5 were 5 points apart. The ASU had 47 points, Denver 45, Omaha 44, and North Dakota 42.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if it makes anybody feel any better, Western does not get Miami at the end of the year this year. Somebody else has a chance to take those 6 points at the end of the year that Western has taken every year off of Miami.
Who has the bye week this year? I don't know.
At the very end of the year?
Yeah.
I think it
I don't remember.
is
I
it
know
St. Cloud.
it might be.
It might.
I only know that next year, I'm pretty sure that they've designated ASU and Omaha as the rivals in terms of the schedule.
Yeah, once
Love it.
St. Thomas comes in,
Yeah.
Omaha and Arizona State become travel buddies. Western
Yeah.
goes back to
Which
beating
is-
up on Miami.
Absolutely the best. Yeah, St. Cloud has the off weekend.
Well, Brent, you know how many Nebraskans live in the valley. It's insane. Not that
I mean,
that's
oh darn, we get to plan a trip to Tempe every year.
every year,
Oh,
gosh.
no,
Especially in
No.
January or February.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Well, I mean that'll be every other year, unless they schedule unless Omaha really fights hard to get both series in the second half of the year.
Well, either way.
we're hoping
Maybe
to make it this year.
maybe you may have to make that trip in October or November.
Omaha is at
February.
ASU in February this year. That's
Yeah.
my birthday weekend.
But next year they
Oh,
play.
well,
twice.
okay. I'll tell the wife we have to go say happy birthday to Paul, so we have to go to
I won't
Tempe.
be there yet.
Paul's in New York.
But won't
Oh,
be there yet.
You know what? We're gonna go to the game.
And then
Celebrate
sell
for you.
social media posts.
Yes, we'll tell them to sing happy birthday. We'll take a video and then we'll send it off to you. We'll tag you.
Yeah, I mean, the misconception is that all the out of towners there were from Chicago, which I still hate to this day.
There's quite a few Michigan folks down there too.
There's people there are just as many people there from Detroit, from Western Canada, from Minnesota, from Iowa, from Wisconsin,
From places that it's cold in the
Boston,
winter.
from New York. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I used to just hate and despise that the town used to kiss the city of Chicago.
All right, we should probably end this because we are closing in rapidly on 2 hours, and that's a hell of a way to kick off a season that's still a little bit of a ways away, and I don't know if we're going to have a show every week, but we'll try.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. And
yes, thank you for coming on and talking more after you just got done talking.
Yeah, that's what
Brent,
I do.
Thanks for joining us once again. You're always fun to have on the show, and we like hearing about things in the middle of the country.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you go to Kansas City Mavericks games this year, you have to figure out why they like to chant "You like broccoli" at opposing players, because apparently that is something their fans do, and our buddy Trevor knows firsthand.
Huh.
What really?
I didn't.
Is that
We went.
you like broccoli?
We went.
Yeah,
We went to 2 playoff games last season. I don't think I remember. I definitely would have remembered that.
I know our buddy,
I don't-
because so
Trevor has said.
no, Ben said that they were doing it at Trevor when Ben went to the Kansas City Mavericks game when he was stationed over near there. Because we asked Trevor about it, and Trevor was like, "I didn't hear about this, and I don't understand what that means." So we need some
Okay.
ECHL information as to why they find chanting "You like broccoli" at players to be
I will keep my
so much
ears open.
By the way, Wes, just to let you know, I have I don't know what the regular lineup is going to be, but there is a 4 on the ASU roster this year.
Ooh. I will
Now
pass that
I don't
along
want to divert your attention from the coach.
to our
but-
friends.
There is a
Yeah,
4. I just don't know how much he's going to play. I don't know what they're going to do for.
They'll figure out every time he's on the ice. They know.
Oh yeah.
He might
So
get
We have a 5.
a couple spare
Well, they have a 5, but
We do not have a 4 this year.
I mean, it's a
What about,
smart
you know?
play. It's a smart play. I guess it doesn't really. I'm waiting for the day when one team just decides that like no 0-digit numbers when we're playing Western. So then you get like
Yeah.
10, 11. Like it just sounds stupid.
well,
30,
see, I think
50, 60.
I think that if you're going to do it right. and at least in warm-ups, have everybody come out wear number 4.
Right.
There you go.
It'll
That'd
be
be
interesting
funny.
to see what traditions carry over to the new arena too.
Well, you know that is.
That's
It-
you kind of
It
hope
has to.
it has to.
Yeah, you know that. Good night, gentlemen.
All right, thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike, thanks for being here as always. Yeah, until the next one. Hopefully, it's next week. Maybe it's September,
I'm not
whatever that Tuesday is before the start of hockey season. Who knows? I don't know. Life's fun, and every day's a mystery. So
Yep.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Until then, Pucks on Net. Good things happen like Go Horns and Fight Songs. We're out. Bye.